over. Hey, Sean. We back, baby. Clemson, what it is. Hold up, man. We ready to get busy, man. Man, slow down at work. Man, hit the cash app. Hit the PayPal. Then we gotta talk about Umar Johnson. We back. What it do? Man, no, man. And man, I've been chilling for real. I don't know why I ain't been live, yo. I dropped the upload like 2 days ago. I said, man, I got to go live. Ever what it is. Jeffrey Epstein files released. Names got mentioned. Man, we got, man, so much more to talk about the other day. But I ain't get a chance to do it because my car started acting up. I still want to go through that Pam Bondi hearing. I don't know, probably not. Sub L. Probably not. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fallout between Epstein. And let me show y'all man LeBron. Look at this nigga. My man sent me this earlier. LeBron a wild guy, boy. I swear, I don't know what, Israel got on the world. But it is what I do know. I think we do know. Yeah, man. Not for sure what it is. I think we do know. You heard me. Yeah, but my man sent me this. LeBron James. And see my man Scrappy said about Durk.
Yeah, that's what I said. I hope he make out though. He should, cause like I say, it's murder for hire, but the feds don't be picking up murder cases like that unless somebody tell him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the thing. Like, if you notice, like the feds only pick up drug charges.
Oh, shorty from
fraud, shit
Baltimore?
like that. Like, gun charges here and there. Like all the time. But like, if motherfucking the state get overloaded with cases, they let the feds take the gun charges, or if they know they can get more time out of the feds.
My man was in the feds. He talking about the Durk shit.
It's with a gun charge. They send it to the feds instead of the state. You know what I'm saying? Like try to career criminal, because that's automatic 15. But yeah, like they ain't really got shit. They can use their shit. Like, certain shit. That's why you ain't supposed to post certain shit on your IG, like drugs or money or gun.
Oh, okay.
Doing these days, because they can use that shit in court. You know what I'm saying? They can use all that shit in court, because that's their job, to try to motherfucking make you look like this bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I hope he alright, because it seemed like now, like I said, they trying to fry his ass. You feel what I'm saying? That's what it seemed like. It seemed like they trying to fry him, because like I say, his father. You feel what I'm saying? So it ain't that far from tree now. His father gone. I just hope that nigga make out. I just hope nobody don't flip. If everybody keep it silent and everybody motherfucker keep their mouth shut, then they good. You feel what I'm saying? They coming home. Even if they get like a little bit of time, a couple years, But if somebody open their mouth, it's over. He can beat it. They can do like they did Melly. He can beat it, and then they can, recharge him. That's how they did the little nigga said on when they came to grab niggas. The little nigga said on the case he had the murder charge, and he beat it. He had a hung jury. And then they motherfucking took it back to court. What's the name? And they fried him. I don't know how much time I said here. I don't know if he got 30 or life or what. I don't know, dog. I
No.
forget. But
No,
yeah, they
hey.
can do that.
No, Jam ain't waiting no while. We gonna talk about Durk shit too though.
But the only thing is, everybody need to keep their mouth shut, yo. But everybody keep their mouth shut, he good. You feel what I'm saying?
See, that's the thing about
They all
Durk K
good.
Show. They don't have. I don't think they have video proof of anything other than the shooting. I don't think they have video proof of them supposed to be going to a restaurant. I don't think they got that on video because it all matters. What matters the most is when this investigation into Durk started. When did they suspect OTF? Did they suspect OTF day one, day two? You understand? Because if they didn't suspect OTF until Jam started telling, they don't have no video footage of them going into no stores or none of that. They don't have none of that on video. But like I said, it all depends on when the investigation started. But I think if they had that on video, they would have mentioned it. Like they say in the paperwork that Bonnie or whoever went and brought ski masks. That could just be somebody's word. No, it's not a RICO. That could just be somebody's word. That could just be somebody's testimony. If they don't got video proof to back that up, or if not at least one person is backing up that claim, no, they got no. There you go, loyalty betrayal. They got surveillance footage of the shooting. I'm talking about in the paperwork when they said that after the murder, they went to this spot. I don't think they got footage of that. I'm talking about when they say that this person went to the store to buy ski masks. I don't think they have footage of that. That's just somebody's testimony. That's just what somebody is saying. I don't think they have footage to back that up.
Because, like you say, they going over he said, she said. You feel what I'm saying? Like Instagram shit, songs. And that ain't enough evidence to prove guilty on the murders. You feel what I'm saying? Murder for hire. Basically, that's still a murder charge. The feds only don't mean pick up murders. Like, you know what I mean? They don't pick up murders. Now, when it's like I say, murder for hire, shit like that, that mean they grab you. You feel what I'm saying? Just say nobody ain't telling. You know what I mean?
No.
They grab you, but then if
The
somebody
paperwork said that they did those things, but I don't think they got video footage. I don't think they got video footage. See, this is the thing, Lord to betrayal. A lot of them, and I said this before, a lot of them stores, they don't hold on to footage. They might have that footage for 30 days. Most establishments, their footage rolls over, which means it holds a certain amount of days. Let's say it roll over every 30 days. So if the feds didn't extract that footage within the 30-day time frame, you said if the feds didn't snatch that footage in the 30-day time frame, that footage is lost. You know what I mean? I know they said it. Where you at? It's on your page, Loyalty Betrayal. Let's go to Loyalty Betrayal page. Shout out to Loyalty Betrayal. She cussed me out the other night. Loyalty Betrayal crazy motherfucker. Yeah, why you? She cussed me out the other night, or what's it called? What the fuck, Loyalty Betrayal? It's on. Where's that? No, I'm not talking about the shooting. No, I'm not talking about the shooting. I'm talking about the video footage. The video footage. All right, hold on. Yeah, see, no, this is the motion is to deny that the surveillance footage and witness testimony related to May 2020. Yeah, this is the surveillance footage of the shooting. This surveillance footage of the shooting. I'm talking about surveillance footage of them buying ski masks. Surveillance footage of them going to whatever restaurant they said they went to after the murder. I don't think they have that on I think that's just somebody's word. But I was trying to show y'all man LeBron, man, and how these people is like, yo, they so fucking scared of Israel. It's crazy. Like, yo, this shit is crazy. Listen. It's a no. Oh, no. He said how far back. Oh, you talking when I said how far back the investigation started? No, I'm talking about the investigation on OTF on Durk and them. But you just showed me that's just surveillance footage and witness testimony from that day. That don't mean they was investigating Durk in 2021. That's not what that means. That means the investigation started in 2021 after the murder. When Durk became a suspect and OTF became a suspect, I don't know.
What message would you like to send for Israel?
If I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then I hope you've been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not.
Hold up, man.
Want to be
You said it murders in 2022.
Better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things. And,
King Von got killed in 2021.
I appreciate the question.
What message would you like to send for Israel?
If I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then I hope you
Okay.
follow my career. I hope I inspire.
Oh, so that's
people
witness
over there,
testimony from the 2000 from the first shoot.
wants to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things, and I appreciate it.
This nigga say he heard nothing but great things about Israel. Israel got the rich shook, boy. That's what God. Man, they don't want to say nothing bad about Israel.
There is 3 more million.
All right, so look, these Epstein files got released. Some new Epstein files got released. And yesterday, I don't know if this post is real, but it supposed to have been a list of names. Did y'all see this? The list of names that supposed to got revealed all tied to Epstein. Yo, the list long as a bitch. Hold up. Look at this. The DOJ has released a list of every name in the Epstein files. Yo, what the fuck, yo? Look at this. George W. Bush. Hold on. It's gonna go through a few notable ones. Joe Biden. Alexander Acosta. Gloria Allred. Julian Assange. Steve Bannon. George W. Bush. Bill Clinton. George Clooney. Bill Cosby. Bill Gates. Eric Holder. Yo, all these people, man. Yo, this is crazy, y'all. Alec Baldwin. Chelsea Clinton. God damn. Jay-Z, Michael Jackson. All these people. Woody Allen. George Bush Jr. Rupert Murdoch. Man, that man had a stranglehold on the world. Michelle Obama, what's she doing mentioned in the doc and the shit? Kevin Spacey. Ghislaine Maxwell's father, of course, he in there. Fucking Marilyn Monroe name in that bitch for. I'm sure she was dead. These are all the names. Ivanka Trump, J.D. Vance, Melania Trump, Chris Tucker, Lex Wessner. Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody found their way, somehow, some way, tied to fucking Jeffrey Epstein. But I wanted to see this. Elvis Presley? Fuck, he had to do
There
that.
is new bipartisan frustration in Congress after the Justice Department sent a list of, quote,
What's up,
politically
Major Baby?
exposed persons in the millions of files related to its probes of Jeffrey Epstein. That list includes many prominent figures who appear in the files without any context, like Janis Joplin and Pope John Paul II. No one name besides Epstein and his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell has ever been charged in connection with Epstein's crimes. Several lawmakers argue the Justice Department is intentionally muddying the waters on who was a predator versus someone simply mentioned in an email.
They is doing that. They're definitely doing that. They definitely muddying the waters. Just putting all these names in here to confuse people as to, who was committing crimes versus shit. It should be a crime just to be associated to Jeffrey Epstein, for real. If he ever mentioned your name in a sentence, they need to be arrested. Straight up. This man is a fucking sicko.
It's an article.
Billionaire Tom Pritzker is stepping down as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, saying he regrets his association with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Meanwhile, the Justice Department sent a weekend letter to Congress listing hundreds of prominent people listed in the Epstein files. But there's a but, and it's a big one. Being mentioned doesn't necessarily mean anything. Elvis Presley is in there, and he died almost 50 years ago, which raises questions about why DOJ sent this 6-page letter that you saw with scores of prominent names. Yes, there are some presidents, business leaders, government officials who have been well documented in their ties to the convicted sex offender. But there are many others who are simply talked about in the Epstein emails and texts. You are on the oversight committee. That's one of the jobs and the committees that you sit on in Washington. One of your colleagues, Democrat Ro Khanna, said that this is DOJ's attempt to muddy the waters. Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace pointed out that the list is, quote, missing names. What's your reaction?
Yeah, it's selective release. We've seen this consistently. There is an agenda that this DOJ has, and that is why the American people simply do not trust the leadership in Washington right now under this.
I don't trust you either.
Administration, because it feels as if it's more about protecting pedophiles than it is in actually seeking truth and justice, which is the job of the Department of Justice. So sadly enough, just like when we saw the initial release of the Epstein files, we saw that there were victims' names that were released as well, and it was clear that that was intentional. Sadly enough, I feel like that was an attempt to intimidate these amazing survivors. And frankly, we saw when Pam Bondi appeared before Judiciary, the other committee that I serve on, that they absolutely were the courageous ones, and our pathetic Attorney General, sadly enough, is not doing the job.
I want to watch that hearing on her
sworn oath to do.
Before we get to anything hip-hop.
There's so much that was redacted from these files. I know you are one of the lawmakers who went in and looked at some of the unredacted documents. What were your takeaways?
No, that's actually not the case. I went in to see unredacted files, and of the files that my staff had listed that they wanted me to go ahead and try to review, all of those files were still redacted. And so I was asking the staff that was there, why is it that I am here? And basically it was just a waste of my time. This is another thing that concerns everyone, whether you're talking about a Ro Khanna or a Thomas Massey. There's a lack of transparency.
Yeah, I don't trust her. I think she Black Lives Matter. And y'all, this is not Democratic or Republican. People got it, this is not Democratic or Republican. Because I'm her on is that, Jeffrey Epstein crimes date back to at least 2008. That means Obama presidency, Joe Biden's presidency, Trump first president. All these people ignored this shit that, nobody wanted to prosecute. But what's going on now is since the Republicans is in office, the Democrats is using this as a tool to get back in office. You understand what I'm saying? But in reality, they don't want to release that shit either. You know, it just sounds good, you know?
And seemingly an attempt to cover up. It is really sad that the United States has historically led this world, and right now we're seeing the United States fall for so many reasons. We see leaders all around the world that are resigning. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand what happened. So you went in, as did many of your colleagues, to see unredacted files. But was it the specific files that you wanted to see that they would not unredact? And
correct.
Why do you think that is? Do you know the context around those?
I don't know exactly what all I was supposed to see if it had been redacted. My staff gave me a list of specific files that they were like, we think you should try to go and look at these. They have 4 computers set up for all 435 members of the House. I sat down at one of those computers. They showed us how to go through the process of actually seeing the unredacted version. I then had to have the person that taught us how to do that to say, wait a minute, am I doing something wrong? Because as I continue to search specific documents, they are coming up and they are redacted. And so the explanation that I was given is that that must have been how they were sent over. And
the thing is though, y'all, and this the truth. If them names was to get revealed, yo, the stock market is gonna plummet. I'm trying to tell you. Like, yo, it's fucked up, yo. It's yo, this is a horrible situation, yo. Like, from what they did to the cover up, like, yo, this is bad. It's all bad.
A lot of documents that they've been getting the same issue. They've been trying to resolve, I will say, because a lot of members have had that problem. So they were taking note of everything that I was trying to unredact and denoting that they were not available in an unredacted form.
Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee. Hi, Congressman. So what was your immediate reaction when you read this list of names, which includes people like Marilyn?
All right, no, we ain't trying. I want to go to that Pam Bondi hearing. Highlights from Pam Bondi's hearing. I seen one that was like 50-something minutes. I want to go to that one. Heated moments. This is what I want to watch.
I'm going to show you 2 photos of former Prince Andrew.
I'm going to speed it up, y'all.
Attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, that we redacted the victim's
Because you were following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely...
Y'all, remember, y'all, let me go back to this, because this is why I saw it as a play. Before I go back to that. Jeffrey Epstein, 2018 deal he signed with the feds. Not 2008, my bad. He signed a deal in 2008, y'all, that said that none of his co-conspirators will ever be charged. We watched that shit a couple days ago. Let me see if I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna go back to that and I'm gonna pull it up on my phone so we can
film study. Ryan gonna see a clip with the same bad habit.
Showing my kids how to box. I had to pull up my man Tank. Hold on. Hit that like button, y'all.
Absolutely
Share the live.
despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
twice.
I've been claiming my time.
Never
I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people to look at the Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I answer
question.
your question about protecting?
You answered the question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I claim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please
to
stop the clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
I'd like to take my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized this operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you if you had any decent.
So look, y'all, and I showed it, but every time we talk about Epstein, I gotta show this video. Epstein signed a deal with the federal government. Crazy ass deal. A non-prosecution agreement. And it's like, yo, they doing all this fussing.
Cannot invalidate a non.
They doing all this fussing, and they know this. That's why I said it's all a play. Now, they can do like how they did Ghislaine Maxwell. You know what I mean? And charge her anyway. But yo, he signed a deal with the feds in 2008.
A federal judge ruled this week a court cannot invalidate a non-prosecution agreement against Jeffrey Epstein after his death in prison last month. Epstein reached that agreement with prosecutors in 2007.
So by him so-called dying, the judge can't invalidate his plea agreement. Listen to the plea agreement. That was the only way to save everybody. That's what it sounds like. His death, similar to Hernandez, fuck that football player name was that kept that supposed to hung himself. So his wife can still get paid. Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez killed himself so his wife can still get paid from his contract. It was something of that nature. But y'all remember that, right? So look, so by him dying, they can't nullify the agreement.
a non-prosecution agreement against Jeffrey Epstein after his death in prison last month. Epstein reached that agreement with prosecutors in 2007 to avoid federal sex trafficking charges.
So the judge in Florida said earlier this year, those prosecutors violated the law and Epstein's victims could get their day in court. Now the court says Epstein's death has removed the basis for the victim's request. Deborah Blum is an attorney, and she joins us now with more to talk about all this. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So remind our viewers again about Epstein's deal with prosecutors in 2007 and why the judge says it violated the Crime Victims Act.
So that's really simple to answer. In 2007, there were victims, and obviously we know that there are a lot of them, and those victims brought their issue to the federal government, to local law enforcement, and the federal government was in the process of investigating and prosecuting. But what happened is that they reached a non-prosecution agreement with Epstein in 2007, and then in January, February 2008, the federal government wrote to those crime victims, their attorneys, and said, we're still investigating, and didn't disclose that they had reached this non-prosecution agreement. And then later on in 2008, he took the state plea deal, which was very unorthodox, because when he was in prison, he was allowed to leave 6 days out of the 7 days of the week, which as a criminal defense attorney, my clients would dream to have a deal like that.
So is this the same agreement that protected any co-conspirators, any sort of blanket?
Yes. So what?
You hear that? So what are we doing here? This is the fucked up. Yo, I never heard of nothing like this. He signed an agreement that protected his co-conspirators. So the Democrats is in Congress or having these hearings talking about why isn't there any arrest. This is why. In 2007, who was the president in 2007? Was that Obama? Who was the president in 2007?
George W. Bush
George
was the
W.
President
Bush.
of the United States in 2007. He served from 2001 to 2009, and during 2007, focused on the Iraq War and the economy.
Happened in this ruling by federal judge.
Any co-conspirators, any sort of blanket?
Yes. So what happened in this ruling by federal judge Mara, he said that he's not going to undo the plea deal. It still stands, and it protects the alleged co-conspirators. So their names haven't been disclosed, although we know the names of 4 of them or more. I guess the reporters found out who they were. But what Judge Mara said is that they weren't named parties to this action, so they don't have a chance to respond. We know that the U.S. government is still looking into them, and should they have an indictment against them or an investigation against them, their attorneys would have to argue that the plea deal provided them immunity and that they should not be subject to prosecution.
Some of these alleged co-conspirators could also be involved in the case that's being built here in New York. So that was in Florida, but we don't know if that agreement also protects them from whatever was done in New York.
Correct. As a defense attorney, the U.S. government is the U.S. government. So it's my position that if somebody had a non-prosecution agreement that provided that individual with immunity, that should apply to the entire U.S. government. But the district attorney's office is saying, the United States Attorney's Office is saying that it only applies to Florida. So should there be acts here in New York, which we know that there are, that they could be named as defendants.
All right, so the thing that I keep thinking about throughout this whole sordid tale.
So that's the legal hurdle, and that's exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell is saying on her appeal, that he signed this agreement. I'm supposed to be protected under this agreement, and the federal government is supposed to bind all states, but somehow, some way, she was still able to get arrested. So now, if you take that back to what's going on right now, where they're arguing about arrest, and they're trying to overrule, well, they did overrule their decision to allow Ghislaine Maxwell to get arrested. But I don't know how much burn that's going to have on the other people. Like, I don't know if that shit going.
If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing.
I don't think that's going to work.
Has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He
Hayes.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did not ask a
horrific crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam
ask
Attorney
them.
General,
I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there, and you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce,
good over here,
you
little Timmy Fair.
redacted the names of abusers,
Anybody blocked you or
enablers,
nothing?
accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family
Some of them
and
did.
friends, but you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused,
Yo,
and
that is
trafficked.
crazy, yo. 1,000 victims, yo. Yo, Jeffrey Epstein, that's why yo, when people try, yo, nobody compares to this guy, man. It's so real. Like, yo, he is in a league of his own. Nobody compares to him, man. Nobody. I watched the video earlier. The dude Dummy Ain't from Baltimore. Yo, he said, look at this shit that was in the Epstein files. Like, look at this sick shit. What's shorty name? Dummy Mo. Look at this sick shit, y'all. Like, what is this? Hold on. He said this is in the files. Look at this. What is that? That look like humans. Look like humans, man. What the fuck is that, man? Look like a chicken, and this look like a person. Like there's some sick stuff going on here behind closed doors, man. For real.
This performance screams cover up.
Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia reported in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem called Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence.
I know what it do.
How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and G. Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme.
Hold up, y'all.
Her top assistant, Hagan Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and 2-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me." You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia.
Well, I'm alive now.
But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had 0 prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia James in a single week. And just yesterday, another grand jury shut down your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against the 6 members of Congress who had spoken out to remind all service members that they have a duty to refuse illegal orders. You tried to get a grand jury to indict 6 members of Congress at a time. That means
security case where my campaign was targeted. The president's
FBI senior leadership authorized 2 statements to the press that said I was never suspected of wrongdoing and only helped the investigation. But that didn't stop the death threats or my GOP colleagues from referring me to an ethics investigation where Kevin McCarthy's chairman on the ethics committee would find the same thing as the FBI. Our current FBI director would then write a book called Government Gangsters and identify a long list of enemies. About a quarter of them have been either investigated or indicted.
And Lord
He listed
Trail
me
get
at the
emotional,
very
man.
top, along with
First he
Schiff,
linked on me
and
last
during that same
night before
testimony,
last.
refused to recuse himself when asked if he would recuse if any case came across his desk involving me or people on that list. Since that testimony, his department has put me under investigation with Senator Schiff for the nonsense mortgage fraud cases that we've seen. I get it. This is what the president does. I've priced it in the environment we're in right now.
Congressman, I completely agree with you. I know about several of those personally involving you. I believe one has been charged.
Because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions.
We'll work with all of you on both
Now you know how
sides of the
Jasmine
aisle
Crockett ready to go
if
in.
you are ever threatened, and I'll gladly talk to you after this hearing about your cases.
Man,
But I
bro,
can tell
do
you some of them are very
podcast. What
active.
it do?
Appreciate that. Now yield back.
Gentleman yields back, and we're sorry
Make sure I tap into my
gentleman and his
man,
family had to go through.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into
Jasmine
a space
Crockett
and
is-
somebody's a witness, then they sit there.
Jasmine Crockett is I don't know what she is. I think she part of one of them groups, to be honest. She playing a character.
And they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massey, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on. And frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ...
No, see, y'all, they been took freedom of speech away. They been did that. They did that under Trump last president. The Democrats is the one that took away freedom of speech. Now the Republicans is taking it away. See, that's what people gotta understand, yo. They are all on the same team, man. Like a lot of this is just a game, you know. It's a game to them, and we the audience watching. You feel me? But both sides took away freedom of speech. That's not Democratic or Republican. Remember, they kicked Trump off of Twitter. They kicked the fucking president of the United States off of Twitter.
Has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try Congresswoman Crockett to ask any questions because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein.
Look,
after Epstein.
They all in on it, man. Like, that's the thing. That's why this is so funny, because the Democrats are acting like they're not on the list too. Like, this is not a Republican list. You feel me? Like, this list is spread way further than Democratic and Republican. Like, they all a part of this shit. And though none of them really wanted to be released or revealed, I don't think we're ever going to get. We would literally have to go into a coup. You feel me? Like, in order for us to get like full transparency, we would have to literally all take it to the streets. Yeah, man, it would have to be mayhem. They would have to what's the word? And they would have to employ, what's not employed? It would have to be martial law, man. You feel me? Like, it would have to get to that point, before they release all these names. That shit, I'd be shocked if it happens. For real.
Epstein was convicted, and I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
Time belongs to the
Texas.
gentleman from Kansas.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a few seconds
You
back
bet,
to make
you
up
bet.
for the yelling? Thank you. General, did you have anything further to say?
Texas convicted of homicide. Cecil Joseph from Dominican Republic.
She do not want to talk about
Texas
this shit.
convicted for kidnapping, rape. Khalid Khan from Afghanistan. That's why they want to talk about Epstein and not what's happening in their own states.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking. Co-conspirators. Fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking.
Yeah, show you do
And
that.
then finally,
Do that for sure.
what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction.
God
We can't
damn.
even see them.
Everything
And then
redacted.
there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that.
Can
This is where he's listed as a
Can I finish
co-conspirator.
my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my
I'm
time.
going to answer this
Why
question.
ain't booked?
Mr.
This
Chairman,
is how this works.
can I have my time?
He was,
Sick,
he
yo.
was,
Mr. Chairman,
The gentleman
Sad,
can
man.
give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
all right, I'm reclaiming my
Can I
time.
give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my
Another
answer
question.
on that?
Yeah,
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to the
Chairman,
next
it's
question.
my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can
Within
give me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700, and we invited
You know
you
what?
in.
Gentlemen.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
He needs
time
to get
belongs
on
to
the
the
stage now.
Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm
at
reclaiming
all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't.
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
All right, y'all. We got to finish this and I'll get up when I come back. I gotta go all the way back down that bitch. I ain't going about 10 o'clock. Shit. Yeah, we got to finish this when I get back, man. They done snuck a call in on me. No, I'm still at work, technically. Yo, make sure you hit that like button. I done got comfortable, took off my shit off. Gonna call me. You gonna call me at 8:40. You should have told me that shit since you gave up. My shit ain't coming through like it's supposed to. But it is what it is. I'm gonna take my ass to work. Yeah, we gonna go back live, man. When I get back in, y'all, probably around like 10 o'clock. We're gonna go back live, man. So you make sure you hit that like button. We're gonna talk about Durk case. I want to finish watching this hearing too. Got a lot to talk about for real. We'll probably go live from like 10 to 12. But appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And I'm out.